Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Aggieville Alleycats podcast, where come rain, shine, or anything in between, we're here to deliver to you the Kansas State sporting news that you so love. I'm Ace Edwards, right alongside
Connor Baltazar.
And today we're going to be doing the weekly recap. Sorry for lying to you. Yeah, we are doing a Friday episode.
Things happen.
Things happen. But we still will be doing a Saturday episode as well, and that's an episode you're not going to want to miss. But as for this specific episode, we're just going to be basically going over every bit of K-State news that we've received in the last 2 weeks. Because one of us, I'll give you a hint, it was me, that was out of town. Yeah, that's really all there is to say. We're going to be going over the press conference of Jerome Tang, transfer news from every sport, women's basketball, and then finally the Batcats. But let's firstly go in with the hiring and press conference of Jerome Tang. Which, by the way, yes, we still have the Doomtang Clan merch. Please go buy it. It's good merch.
It's good merch.
It's good merch. But Jerome Tang had his opening press conference where he met with basically everyone in the K-State media and the K-State fan base. It was an open press conference. Unfortunately, we both had class. So
yeah, I had a project presentation at the time. I would have skipped if I did not have that. Yeah. Literally any other class, like any other day for that class, I would have skipped for it, but I could not, and it was a group project. So I was like, I cannot let my group friends down. So,
yeah. But nevertheless, we ended up watching the press conference, and just the overtop thing is, we're not going to say anything revolutionary here by saying this, but that is one of, if not the absolute best opening press conferences I've seen for a coach at any level.
I am in total agreement. I hesitated to say that, but because I wasn't able to watch it immediately, but I saw people freaking out about it. I was texting people and they were telling me to go watch this opening presser, and I'm like, there are very few times in my life where I've been asked to watch a press conference, actively. But I mean, everybody that I talked to about it was begging me to watch it, and I watched it. And there were multiple times where I was sitting there nodding, Yeah. It was I was ready to run through a wall for Jerome Tang. Everything that he had to say, it felt like was perfect.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel rehearsed at all, really. I know that he was probably given talking points and stuff like that. But of course.
Yeah, he had notes that he technically looked back to.
But his delivery was phenomenal.
Yeah, and I'm uniquely equipped to talk about his delivery, but we can go ahead.
He just, I don't know, everything he said was great. As a longtime K-State fan, he hit a lot of beats that I felt like I really enjoyed, because he talked about K-State traditions, but he didn't act like, he had been here for a million years. He was like, I just heard about this thing called EMA. Yeah. And he talked about how much he liked EMA. And that would give him goosebumps when he said it. And I don't know, just everything that he said, it felt like the exact right thing to say in that particular moment. I wish that some of the members of the media had asked him less bad questions, but not
naming any names.
Not naming names, but if it did seem like he was a little annoyed at times with the questions he got, but he took all of them in stride.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's part of filling out a new coach, as a media member as well. So I won't dump on sports media too much. They're figuring him out as much as he's figuring it out. But it was just a phenomenal Grand Slam press conference. The only thing I wish could have been changed is I wish it was longer.
True.
That was it. He only talked for about 25-ish minutes.
His main speech was 15, and the rest was just questions.
Yeah. I would have sat there and listened to him talk for 3 hours.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't do that to him. I don't think he wants to talk for 3 hours. But I would have listened to him talk a lot more. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was definitely a breath of fresh air, I guess. Because, I mean, we haven't for quite a while, really. And this isn't a Bruce thing. This is just a K-State coaches in general thing. Probably the last time we had a coach that really had such a grabbing presence at the podium was Bob Huggins, and he was here for a year. Before that, you're going to have to go way back. So, which, I mean, part of that comes from Tang's background as a pastor.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he was able to just grab the audience. He has unlimited charisma, it feels like.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, every other coach we've had either has had negative relations with the media or was Bill Snyder, who describing a negative relationship with the media is generous.
Yeah.
But as for why his delivery was so effective, let's break it down from a fundamental standpoint. I've done competitive speech for 7-8 years, so I kind of understand what he's doing, why he's doing it. Like, for example, not standing behind the podium. He was doing that so his gestures would be
seen, right?
More seen, more open, and it also removes a barrier, which really helps with intimacy in speeches. That's like one of the first things that you're taught as someone who's going to go into a public speaking sector, is that if you really want to reach an audience and you want to be on the same level as them, you remove just about any other barriers that you can between you and them. And another part of it is you want to make it look as natural as possible, which is why he was wearing the lapel microphone instead of the stick microphone, because that way he's on the same level as everyone else. Because psychologically, whenever you're holding a microphone, you're the important person. And even though he still had a microphone, he was still the center of attention. The fact that he didn't go as far as to have the microphone in his hand just shows that he's really effective in how it just relates you to him. That's the same reason why in competitive speech tournaments, they always use lapel microphones or they use the ear microphones. It's because they want to make sure that the person competing is able to connect with the audience. So even if you asked a competitor if they wanted a stick microphone, they wouldn't take it because it's not as easy to connect with. Plus, he just has this really infectious charm and this really infectious energy.
Yep.
And he wants to be there. And you can always tell whenever people don't want to be there. I hate to bring up Kleiman, but there are a lot of times that he's been in a press conference where it's really obvious he does not want to be there. Tang is able to take it in stride. I'm not sure if he likes it. I've only seen him twice, so that remains to be seen. But Kleiman is someone who just he views it as a necessary part of the job, which, yeah, that's fair.
It is.
But yeah, Tang handled the press conference perfectly, from the references to Aggieville, tearing up the newspapers, to finding out what ema is, pointing out that wildcats are nocturnal animals, and then pointing at Willie off to the side. He did everything to endear himself to the fan base without going, "How do you do, fellow kids?" Which, that is insanely difficult to do without appearing corny. And there are certain people that can own their corniness. Moving on. There are certain people who can own their corniness, but, Tang doesn't have to because he just has that natural presence. So that's really all I have to say on the press conference. I kind of rambled on about the logistics of speaking.
Yeah. I also, one line, I went on, last night I went on the Bosco's Boys Colorcast show to talk about it, and I mentioned that my favorite line that he had was that he wasn't here to rebuild, he was here to elevate. That was a great line for a couple of reasons. One, because it signals to the fans that, well, he said this later in plain words, but that line reinforces at least that it isn't going to be some long rebuild that we got used to. And then it also signals to the players that, even if they do end up transferring, he sees the roster as one with talent on it already, and that he sees that he's there to elevate, and he's not there to tear apart the locker room or something like that. It makes him a more endearing coaching figure that's coming in. And regardless of your thoughts on Bruce, I mean, those players, they went out and they played really hard for the entire season, and their coach lost his job because of the results of it. So they're probably feeling a tinge of responsibility for it, which is understandable, but it's also not their fault at all. So I don't know. I won't ramble on too much about Jerome Tang's press conference because I feel like everything that really needs to be said about it has kind of been said already. But I mean, it was A plus plus press conference. If March Madness was based on press conferences, we'd be the national champions.
Absolutely.
And now all he's got to do is start to translate it to roster management and getting a staff together so that we can have a successful season next year.
Yep. Speaking of successes that Tang has had, he has knocked his first week out of the park. Keep in mind, he was hired like a week and a half ago.
If that.
If that.
I mean, it wasn't even... When was it officially announced? Monday?
It was Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, so it wasn't even getting
It's been 4 days.
Yeah, it didn't even get leaked until last Sunday. So he's completely shifted the culture around the program in less than a week and completely rejuvenated interest. I mean, I'm not going to be a K-State student next year, and I'm already wanting to try and make plans to come back for the first home game because I want to see this guy in person. You know, I want to see the team next year. I actively want to go watch the team. And
which, if you've listened to the episodes, you know that there were points in the season where both of us were like, if it's on our way, I guess.
Yeah. Like I wasn't going to make time to go watch the team at times this year. But now, you know, my eyebrows are raised and I am fully initiated into the Doomtang clan, I would say.
Absolutely.
I'm ready. I'm ready for basketball right now.
Yeah, I am. Oh, dude, it's going to be an agonizing wait.
Yeah.
But Tang has also made a few assistant coaching hires. One, their names are escaping me. One was from North Texas, one was from Texas, and the other one is from... Well, two are allegedly because of an Instagram live video.
Yeah. Here, I have the names and locations for them.
Okay.
Uric Maluggy from Texas. He was swiped from Chris Beard's staff. That's the best way to describe it, really, is because he was very, very, very valuable to the Texas. He was instrumental in securing a 5-star commitment to Texas, who I believe is going through with his commitment, even though Maluggy is leaving. But it did require the entire Texas staff to go make an in-home visit. So at the very least, we had to make him work for it. And he is considered to be probably top 10 recruiter nationally as an assistant coach. He was in the Athletics 40 under 40. He was in ESPN's Rising Stars. He's probably going to end up being the associate coach. He spent his whole coaching career in Texas, and this is a golden opportunity for him to play under somebody that I imagine he has tremendous respect for, because I'm yet to hear from someone that doesn't have an incredible amount of respect for Jerome Tang.
Not sure that exists.
I think you're right. I don't think there's anyone that... He has no enemies.
Because they're all dead.
Moving on.
Sorry.
But Tang, he's getting an absolutely phenomenal associate head coach hire, and Uric Maluggy. And another guy to keep your eyes on is Jareem Dowling, I believe his name is, of North Texas. And I for one am very happy with this hire as well. He's responsible for getting a lot of recruits to North Texas that could probably play elsewhere at a higher level. And I believe he's played a role in multiple guys that transferred up to a higher level school than North Texas. So I take that as a sign of an excellent talent evaluation, which is something that K-State has relied on for a long time, but it's always been the follow through, which hopefully we now have that with Uric Maluggy and Jerome Tang. And he's going to be a really, really nice, probably second chair guy. And the final one is somebody that's all but confirmed. That's Marco Bourne from Alcorn State.
Yeah.
And because Marco Bourne had a tweet a couple nights ago, I think, about like appreciating Alcorn and like how he's moving on. He didn't say where, but all sources consider it to be K-State. And he was also on the private jet that went and just scooped up all the assistant coaches at once, I guess.
That's where I got it from. It was just the Instagram live video. It was just every single assistant coach to Manhattan.
Yeah, as some donor just like went and like picked up all of them, I guess. Like, you guys
Your
ready?
Uber has arrived.
Like, you guys ready? Sure.
Sure, whatever. A lot of them didn't even have contracts. They just got picked up.
Yeah.
That's a joke. But yeah, I'm happy with the assistant coach hires, and I'm really excited for the Doomtang clan to just be in full force.
Yeah. I didn't think that we were even gonna get close to this type of staff. Honestly, I mean, this is probably going to be the best staff that has been had at K-State basketball since Bob Huggins' era, when that was Frank Martin, Brad Underwood, and Delonte Hill were on that staff, I think. And other than that, I mean, this is a dream team of assistants that have deep ties to Texas and the South and other recruiting beds. And although Jerome Tang did make a pretty big point of saying that they're going to recruit nationally when he was asked about recruiting ties to Texas. And then one more name to keep an eye out for is Rodney Perry. That's a name that's been tossed around as somebody that may end up on staff. Is a Missouri high school basketball coach right now with some ties to the prep scene and the AAU scene that area. But I mean, there hasn't been anything super concrete on that yet, but that's something that seems to be starting to formulate, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. But we're going to see a lot happening with the staff here in the next week or so. We should see, at the very least, the 3 main assistants finalized here in the next couple of days, and then we'll start seeing support staff and like director of basketball operations get filled in and things like that. That should all get figured out here within the week, I would imagine.
Probably so.
Yeah, because the staff is going to want to start recruiting here really soon.
Yeah, that's a lot of room for excitement for the men's basketball team. But we got to move on. There'll be plenty of time to talk about men's basketball. But before we move on to recapping women's basketball and the Batcats, we have a little bit of transfer news to go over. One from the football team and one from the women's basketball team. Let's start with the football news. That is Braden Wood, the defensive tackle that was recruited during the COVID year, has entered the transfer portal. That really kind of stings for the depth at defensive tackle. Not by virtue of him being a proven player, but by virtue of, God, we just need bodies.
Yeah.
We need non-corpses at defensive tackle. Because right now we have Eli Huggins, Damon Alalio.
Yeah.
And
Sayamalo.
And then Tuiasosopo, his son.
Yeah, Titus Tuiasosopo is another guy. Other than that, I think Cody Stufflebean might be moving to defensive tackle. I'm not sure. And then technically Jalen Pickle is a defensive tackle, although he doesn't really play.
He's a tweener.
He doesn't play nose tackle. He more plays in like a 3-tech, 5-tech maybe.
Yeah.
Like we saw him more subbing in for Felix than we did for Timmy this year.
Yeah.
But he is capable of playing that interior spot.
Yeah. I would project us maybe getting a defensive tackle transfer in.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I'd be fine with.
I think it's starting to become like a pretty major need. Having Huggins back this year is huge for this defense.
Otherwise we would have been screwed.
Yeah. And like, Damian Ilalio, I am looking forward to seeing how he develops, but he is still really young. He's only a redshirt freshman, I believe, this year.
Yeah.
And then Avai Seomalu, he is a JUCO guy, so he'll have a way to go. He'll have a ways to go before he's ready for significant playing time at a Power 5 level. But he does have a whole off season ahead of him.
Maybe he explodes. Maybe I'd be fine if
I'd allow it.
I would allow it. But yeah, the defensive line room, especially with the way the 3-3-5 plays, is we're not necessarily lacking defensive tackles. We're lacking nose tackles, which Braden Wood probably was never going to be that definitive nose tackle. But still, it's a body, and we need those.
Yeah. Yeah. especially with I don't know. It just seems like the room is really dinged up right now in spring ball. And then just behind Huggins, there isn't a lot right now, which we may see Ililio or Sayamalo develop into someone that's totally startable next year. But it remains to be seen. I would like them to at least go out and get a defensive tackle depth piece in the portal.
Yeah.
Just a true nose tackle. Timmy Horn, too.
Just another way.
Yeah, just the second Timmy Horn.
Yeah.
Timmy Horn Jr.
It's insane to me that he's not getting any draft hype.
I am really surprised by that. As I thought Timmy Horn had a really nice year, and I'm shocked that he's not getting more buzz about that.
I don't even think like he's a registered prospect on a lot of places, which like there are like 3 players that I feel are getting disrespected in that regard. One of which we may be talking to soon, but wonder who it is. But
who could it be?
Who could it be? But yeah, K-State's just getting disrespected in the draft hype. But aside from that, best of luck to Braden Wood in the transfer portal. Always hope that it works out for a guy, even if they leave the program, unless they leave the program under, like destroyed one of the cats on campus or something. I don't know.
That would be very sad.
Barring a crime, we support people outside of their endeavors.
As long as they are not like felons when they leave the program.
Yeah, wish you the best.
Yeah, good luck. If you're a felon,
sorry,
you're not an Alleycat.
You're not an Alleycat. That sucks.
Alleycats aren't felons.
I don't know why that reminded me of the scene in Waterboy. Now, kids, the next lesson is don't do crack. But anyway, the next bit of transfer news comes from the women's basketball team, and that is Rachel Ranke of the women's basketball team is entering the transfer portal, who someone was hurt this entire year, and honestly, at times, I felt was really missed just by virtue of experience.
Yeah, I totally agree. Rachel Ranke would have been a huge help for the team this year. Being a experienced veteran on the wing and also an excellent three-point shooter, which those are 2 things that this team desperately needed in the backcourt, and they unfortunately were unable to use her this year because I believe she had a back injury for the majority of the season, and she's unfortunately entering the portal, which you hate to see, but. I wish she was sticking around because I always liked her as a player. I liked her game a lot. She was just a really good shooter. And hopefully she's able to find success elsewhere. But also hopefully we're able to take some steps with our 3-point shooting in the offseason. Maybe acquire our own pieces through the portal that can maybe pick up some of the load there. Because, 3-point shooting has been very difficult at times for the women's basketball team, despite it seemed like starting the year very well in that regard. But it's becoming clear that this team just is going to live and die by the 3, very ironically.
Yeah, funnily enough, who would have thought? Despite the fact that the best player doesn't hit threes.
Yeah, it's all because of that. Just need to develop some sort of offense on the wings, which hopefully the incoming freshmen and the development of the current freshmen will help with that.
And also Heavenly Greer getting back from
the
explosion room of the NCAA. I have, we mention it every time. No idea.
We may never see her. Who's to say? Who's to say?
Maybe the real Heavenly Greer was the friends we made along the way.
You're right.
Yeah, I really hope she gets a chance to play. But yeah, that pretty much ends the transfer portal news. Now we can go.
Other than one more from men's basketball.
Oh, that's right. I forgot to mention it. Yeah, there was another men's basketball transfer out, and this is something that I'm actually sad about. However, it's not the most sad I would be if. Okay, one, I would be very ironically sad. I'm not going to say it, and then the other, I would be genuinely sad. The good news is that the one I would genuinely be sad about, I don't think has a possibility of happening. But yeah, Selton Miguel, the guard, has transferred out. I wish that he was able to get his shooting potential and his scoring potential and offensive ability figured out here, because he was always an elite defender, even during down the stretch when people were kind of dumpstering on him.
Yeah.
Which, like, all respect to Selton, but his offensive ability kind of, yeah. But his defense was always elite. So, it sucks letting that go, but I hope that no matter where he ends up, I hope he ends up finding that offensive potential.
Yeah. I'm going to miss Selton as well. I had high hopes for him when he got to K-State, and I feel like he still has a lot of untapped potential. He's still an incredible defender, and I like him. But just too inconsistent shooting from the outside. I mean, barely over 20% in both his freshman and sophomore seasons is really, really tough. He made like 2 threes in all of Big 12 play, and I think like they both happened like down the stretch. But and then like, he just needs to diversify his offensive game to truly become the weapon that I think he can be. Because I mean, right, he's excellent at driving and getting to the bucket, but he needs to work on his finishing. He needs to work on being able to go to the left, and he needs to work on his spot up shooting as well.
Yeah.
But I will miss Selton. I'll be interested to see where he ends up, though.
Yeah, same story. Now we can get into the recap of the sports, which it's really, most of it's old news, so we'll try and like spring by it. So basically what I'm thinking of is score top 3 scorers for the women's basketball, and then people who hit above 500 in a game for Batcats. But let's start off with the women's basketball team. The first game that we're going to be discussing is the first round of the NCAA tournament, where K-State ended up playing Washington State, in which a lot of people made a lot of noise about them being kindred spirits, which, I actually kind of subscribe to the theory that K-State and Washington State are kind of kindred spirits in a lot of ways.
Yeah, like both just being state universities and not like the biggest college towns on earth. And then also just a lot of K-State people are at Washington State. Former K-State head coach Deb Patterson is the director of like basketball operations there, I think. Former Cat, I forget which one. I think it's Lori Kane is on the staff there. And then there's the head coach is also connected to K-State basketball. And then the university president at Washington State was the university president at K-State for quite a while and oversaw a lot of growth at K-State. So yeah, a lot of connections there.
Yeah. Plus, people wrongly treat us like the little brother university.
Yeah.
Which, that's a different rant for a different day.
Yeah.
But K-State ended up winning 50-40, and you have top 3 scorers plus any other notable stat lines.
Yeah. Yoko Lee led the way, 20 points. She had 15 rebounds as well. So I think this game she broke the school record for double doubles in a season. It was something like that.
Probably.
And Briley Glenn added 14 points, and she got half of them at the free throw line. Yoko Lee got half of her points at the free throw line as well. And then Serena Sundell and Emily Eber each had 5. And that's almost all the points for the entire team. Dollinger added 4 and Simone had added 2. That's it. And there was not much. Most of the scoring came from these two main sources of Yoko Lee and Briley Glenn for this game. And again, it was another bad shooting day. It was a bad shooting day for both teams, really.
Yeah, no, I was listening to this game while I was driving, and it got to the point where every single time a shot was made, and I heard so that there's 2 ways that I say sick. You know this, maybe other people don't. There are 2 modes of me saying sick. Me genuinely meaning it as a form of affirmation, and then me saying it sarcastically instead of just throwing an F-bomb out. Right. There was a lot of times of me just saying sick during this game.
Yeah, that's something that I've picked up and added to my vernacular.
Sick.
Yeah. But nice to get an NCAA tournament win. It also gets the Cats to 20 wins on the season, which, I mean, is a far cry from what we thought that they would be aiming for at one point this season. I mean, at one point this season, they were looking at the Big 12 title right in the face. And
then shooting happened.
Yeah, shooting happens, and lack of depth happened. But, the ceiling is very high for next season.
Absolutely. And then the next game, we got waxed, which we predicted against NC State, 89-57. This, you know what? Credit to us, we kept it within 10 in the first two quarters. I consider that a victory. I know we lost by 32, but you know what? We weren't beating NC State and Raleigh.
Yeah. At the first time out, we were leading by 8.
Stop the count. Stop the count.
And then after that was about all she wrote. But yeah, tough loss to end on. I mean, the 8-9 line for women's basketball is just absolutely cursed. I mean, if you get the unfortunate task of taking on a 1 seed as a women's basketball team, it's over. It's over. Yeah. You're going to have a tough time, unfortunately. Serena Sundell led the way with 17 points. Aoku Lee added 12, and then Riley Glenn added 8. And then there were scattered points the rest of the way from everybody else. I mean, this was just a terrific shooting day for NC State. They made 54% of their shots from the field, 47% from 3, 10-16 at the free throw line. K-State was 85% from the free throw line, but they were only 38.8% from the field and 28% from 3. So they did not earn this win in any sense of the word. They, especially in the second and third quarters, they just got absolutely boat raced. I mean, they didn't stand a chance after the first quarter. And the momentum, just you could see it slipping away from them after the quick start. Because, I mean, NC State is just a really, really good team.
They're buzzsaw.
Yeah, and they just have shooters everywhere. And if that's the difference between a good team and a great team, the good team will sometimes hit the wide open shot. Great teams, they're going to hit a wide open shot every single time. They are not going to. And NC State, they did not miss their wide open shots. And when we got ours, we didn't take as much advantage as we should have. So, yeah. It's a real downer to end the season on. But you know what? That's okay, because at the end of the day, they still had a pretty nice season. Didn't reach the heights that we hoped that they would. But I'm very excited for next year, because we're bringing back almost everybody and bringing in some really high quality prospects.
3 McDonald's All-Americans.
4, I thought.
4.
All of our
recruits. Yeah, that's right. It is, because all of our recruits are McDonald's All-Americans. We're coming in with a top 15 or a top 10 recruiting class.
Yeah.
There's, I'm going to go ahead and say it. This is by far one of the most exciting times to be a K-State fan across any sport.
Yeah.
Because you have amazing recruits coming in for women's basketball. You have a new head coach who so far has killed everything that he's done within the past 4 days.
Yeah.
He's united the fan base that was ready to strangle one another, which, granted, that's normal, but
yeah,
that's normal. But he's united that fan base within a span of 4 days. Really, it only took him 2. Then Batcats are getting really solid recruits. Pete Hughes, while sometimes his in-game management leaves a little bit to be desired, his recruiting ability has been amazing.
Yeah.
And then the football team is gearing up for what should be one of the saltiest and best rosters in the Big 12.
Yeah.
So basically what I'm saying is it will take a real K-Stating to make this a not exciting year. Does that mean I think it's impossible? No. No. But I think it's unlikely. I'm going to eat those words, aren't I?
Maybe. We'll see.
Allegedly.
We'll enjoy it for now.
We'll enjoy the optimism. It's rare. But, yeah, that wraps up the women's basketball team and the women's basketball season. So, I'm okay with how the season went. Obviously, if you would have told me her record would have been 20-13 back when we were saying that this was a team that could probably make a Big 12 tournament run, if you would have told me our record would be 20-13, exit the second round of the NCAA tournament, I would have been a little bit disappointed. I would have been angry that Aoku Lee didn't get Big 12 Player of the Year.
Yep.
But I would have been all right with it, and I am all right with it.
Yeah.
You too?
Yeah, I am too. Again, Start of the season, I probably would have expected something around here, and I probably would have been pleased with it because I honestly thought this year may have gone worse because I wasn't convinced that we had a ball handler, but we ended up having that, and then Serena Sundell. But then you get to like post OU game. I probably would have been a bit disappointed with this outcome, and I am a little bit. I have a tinge of disappointment just because we weren't able to figure it out outside of Aokuli, at least consistently. So I feel like there was some missed room for growth with this season, but I think that with a really young team, you should expect some growing pains, especially when you really don't have a deep bench to work with. So I'm looking forward to the future with this women's team. I'm going to be following them very closely next year, and I'm expecting great things.
I am as well. So now let's move on to the Batcats. So again, it's a lot of old news, so we're more or less skimming through these. They actually rattled off an 8-game winning streak from Nebraska to it was ended by Air Force. And the winning streak started against Nebraska, which we covered. But then they ended up playing a series against Central Connecticut State, where they ended up going they won 6-3, 5-3, and 5-2. In the 6-3 game, we had a couple of notable performances. Heinrich ended up homering, Nikolov ended up homering. We just had a pretty solid, performances. Dominic Johnson, who will get his own segment, because believe me, Dominic Johnson deserves his own segment.
Yeah, he does.
But yeah, it was overall a solid day. Obviously, the first day you don't want 2 errors because, of course. K-State's defense, just in general, baseball's the one sport where I think it's acceptable, especially on defense, where you can literally just say, figure it out.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you are right. But, I've been really enjoying the Batcats.
If nothing, they're an exciting team.
Yeah, it's similar to last year. But I do think that they're hitting their stride a little bit earlier than last year's team did. Dom Johnson's been phenomenal. We'll get back to him. Jeff Heinrich had a great game in this first game. Phillips still figuring it out. Same with Nick Goodwin. They're kind of stuck in the middle of the lineup right now, and they're not really reaching their heights from last year. But you can just feel that they're on the verge of breaking out right now. And then Josh Nikolov. He's had a really nice last couple of weeks. And then also Blake Adams is another person to talk about. As the starting pitcher, he was really good. 7 strikeouts, just 2 walks, 6 innings pitched, 2 earned, and just 1 wild pitch. Went 99 pitches in this game. But although Tyler Rule did get credited with the win in this one, he went 3 innings in relief, 2 strikeouts, a walk, and 1 earned. And that and this was all a K-State comeback in the bottom of the 8th that ended up giving them a 3-run win.
Yep. That's the first game. The second game, again, was a victory for the Cats. This was a score of 5-3. It ended up just being a score. Our first score was on a collection of wild pitches, then a home run, then a double, then another double, and then finally a Justin Mitchell homer capped off the scoring. And, it was just another solid performance by the Cats. The starting pitcher was Connor McCullough, followed by Blake Corsentino getting a save. And these last couple of games, it was really, really rolling, honestly, which, good.
Yeah, and Dom Johnson's still a base here. We also had 3 people get hit by pitches in this game. Dom Johnson, Jeff Heinrich, and Orlando Salinas. They all got hit by pitches. Nick Goodwin drew a couple of walks. Dom Johnson was 2 of 3 in this game. All around, pretty quality hitting from the team with a couple of exceptions. Kalen Culpepper, the true freshman, went 2 for 3 with an RBI in this game. Been loving his development thus far.
Yeah. Culpepper's been quietly really good this year. He's kind of been overshadowed by Dom.
Yeah, he has been.
Honestly, Dom would overshadow anyone. But speaking of Dom, he led off the scoring for the next game, which was a 5-2 victory for K-State. He ended up homering to left center field. Then it was Dylan Phillips who ended up singling to left field, driving in Cole Johnson and Dom Johnson. Nick Goodwin ended up having a sac fly in the fifth, and then Kalen Culpepper ended up wrapping up the scoring with a single, and that ended up driving in Jones. And yeah, it was just we have to say it's just another really solid day all around.
Yep. And this one was a little bit more pitching by committee, I guess.
Yeah.
Christian Rubeck came in. He is a phenomenal prospect, I would say. His fastballs have touched 98. I've seen is the highest that they've gotten. He went 4 innings, 81 pitches in 4 innings. He did have 7 strikeouts, 2 walks, 1 earned, with 3 hits, 2 wild pitches, and a hit by pitch. So needs to work on command, needs to work on placement as well. He's the epitome of power pitcher. And when it's working, it's working. And when it's not, it's not. And if he can get some more command on his pitches, which I mean that's a lot of the guys in the pitching room or in the bullpen, I should say. Then Landry Jureka ends up getting credited with the win for K-State. He went 3 innings, which is 1 earned run and 3 strikeouts, no walks, just 38 pitches, so kept that pretty low. And then Herman Fajardo came in with 2 innings, had 4 strikeouts and 8 batters faced, with 43 pitches. Added a walk, just 1 hit, and so Herman Fajardo will get credit with the save. And then the Cats end up getting the sweep. Just 1 error from the defense, Orlando Salinas with a fielding error, and then 3 stolen bases for the Cats as well. Don Johnson, Cole Johnson, and Dylan Phillips all get a steal. And then Blake Adams, the starting pitcher, actually went 2 for 3 and drew a walk as a designated hitter.
Yep.
So
Shohei Ohtani.
pretty nice, I guess.
And he ended up getting pinch run for Brandon Jones.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the Central Connecticut State series. Then we had a 1-game series, quote unquote, against Omaha. This was a victory 8-4. Nick Goodwin had a sac fly in the first. Cole Johnson had a homer in the second, followed by a double from Brady Day. Then that ended up scoring Pelletier. In that same inning, scored on a pass ball. Josh Nikoloff ended up homering to center, and then he ended up doubling in the 4th inning to score Dominic Johnson to cap off the scoring in the 4th inning. The rest of the game was relatively uneventful.
All the scoring happened for K-State in the first 4 innings. After that, Omaha did tack on 4 runs, with 2 coming in the 4th and 2 coming in the 6th, but that was it for this weekday game. And Dom Johnson, again, had a great day. 3 for 5, 2 runs scored. Can't ask for much more. Brady Day drew 3 walks, as did Dylan Phillips. And
discipline.
Brady Day with the 2 for 2 and 3 walks. Phillips unfortunately didn't get any hits, but I'll take getting on base. Love that he gets on base. Billy Bean.
I was about to reference Moneyball.
Then Dylan Phillips got another stolen base, and then we'll move on to pitching. Griffin Hassel was the starter. He gets the win. He went 5 2/3 with 88 pitches, 6 strikeouts, just to 1 walk, with 2 hits and 2 earned runs. Then Elijah Dale came in, and he faced 4 batters, but only went 1/3 of an inning. Had no strikeouts, a walk, 1 hit, 2 runs. Only 1 of them was earned, though. With 17 pitches, so not a quality outing at all for Elijah Dale. Although I do have a lot of high hopes for him, mainly because I remember seeing him in the Fall World Series, and his RPM on his pitches was just absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
And Landry Weidman came in then. Landry.
We found another Landry.
He came in. There's a couple pitchers named Landry on the team. Landry Jureka as well.
Oh, no. They're multiplying.
Landry Weidman came in and went 2 innings with 36 pitches and 7 batters faced. Threw some quality innings there. 3 strikeouts, 2 walks, and nothing else on his stat line. And then Tyler Rule came in to close everything up. Gave up a walk, and that was it. And I believe forced a double play, and he only pitched 1 inning. So a nice road win over Omaha, which I believe they will be facing. They'll be playing a return game later this season on some random Tuesday.
Yeah, some random Tuesday. It's always some random Tuesday.
Yeah.
The next series was up against Morehead State, which we have a high school classmate who plays for them.
Yes, we do.
Yep. Let's just say the game he started did not end well for him.
No, it did not.
Poor guy. But this was against Morehead State, and the first game was a pretty dominant Cats victory. It was 10-2. I'm not even going to go through all the scoring.
Yeah. I'll just go down to Don Johnson's stat line because he just had a phenomenal series against Morehead State. He went 4 for 5 with 2 RBIs. He did strike out, and I think it was the bottom of the 8th. It was his last plate appearance, and he was just swinging at everything.
Yeah,
and
why not?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. He did ruin a perfect line for the day, but you know what? 4 for 5, I'll take it.
I'll take it every day.
Yeah. Then Brady Day didn't do much. Then Dylan Phillips, he went 2 for 4 with a run and added a double in there as well as a walk. Josh Nikoloff, he went 1 for 4 with an RBI and a walk. Nick Goodwin 1 for 4, 2 RBIs and a walk. A few walks drawn there in the middle of the order for K-State, which you love to see that.
Yeah.
Especially when they're if they're not going to give you something to hit, you might as well get a free base.
Yeah.
Nick Goodwin with a couple RBIs. Cole Johnson went 3 for 4 this day, actually. And Nick Goodwin also added a triple this game. I neglected to mention, but he did have a nice triple. Rafael Pelletier had 2 doubles as well. He batted down late in the lineup. He was catching this weekend for Justin Mitchell. And added an RBI in there as well and scored 2 runs. And then Orlando Salinas went 1 for 5, but that one hit was a triple, and he did get an RBI with that as well. And Kalen Culpepper went 1 for 4 with an RBI. So, I mean, pretty much every K-State batter, with a couple lone exceptions, was able to get at least 1 hit.
Yep.
And then we moved to pitching. Blake Adams had a really nice outing. Went 6 1/3 with 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, and 5 hits, and just 1 earned run. In those 6 1/3 innings and 93 pitches thrown. Blake Corsentino came in and got 2 strikeouts, 1 walk, 18 pitches in 1 2/3. And then Nico Rodriguez came in at the end, pitched an inning, 2 strikeouts with a walk, a hit, 1 earned, and 20 pitches. He was throwing some phenomenal curveballs in this game. I mean, the break was absolutely incredible from Nico Rodriguez.
I saw some of the spin rates. Those were also ridiculous.
Yeah, he had himself a nice 9th inning. Although he did allow a few on base, he was able to close up without too much damage. So.
Yep. And then the next game. Oh.
Yeah, just an absolute blowout.
Yeah, 15-2 in favor of the Cats. Started by our high school classmate, Alex Kafka. Great dude.
Yeah.
Great dude. Unfortunately, he had to pitch this day. My God. So we'll just go. I'll go over doubles and home runs here because everything else we would be here for 20 minutes. Dominic Johnson had 3 doubles. Brady Day had 1 double. Dylan Phillips had a double. Josh Nikoloff had a double. Nick Goodwin had a double. And Orlando Salinas had 2 doubles. We had home runs from Dominic Hughes, Jeff Heinrich, Cameron Uselton, and then Orlando Salinas. And then a sac fly from Nick Goodwin.
Good job, Nick.
Good job, Nick.
Yep.
We needed that one.
Dom Johnson, perfect at the plate, 3 for 3, and drew a walk as well, had 4 runs. And then we said that's enough, and had Dom Hughes come in, and then he immediately hit a home run.
Yep.
So it didn't get any better. And, I mean, everybody was just on fire on this day, really. I mean, I think everybody reached, and at least every starter did. At one point, we did have back-to-back home runs. I believe it was Dom Hughes and Jeff Heinrich. And then a couple batters went by, and then Cameron Usselton, he went with a homer as well. Really the only person to not have a great day was Kalen Culpepper. He went 0 for 5. It was a couple of strikeouts.
Rare for him.
But, you know, he still made his impact defensively. He is a phenomenal defender. And, yeah. I mean, 17 total hits for the Cats on this very nice day. I listened to this when I was driving home from spring break on the radio. Really nice.
Yep. Then the next one was, again, Morehead State, which you have a funny story attached to this game.
Yes, I do.
You want to tell the story before or after?
I'll tell it after. Let's go through.
Okay. This was a 9-6 comeback victory for your Kansas State Wildcats, who ended up winning on a go-ahead homer in the 8th inning by Dylan Phillips. Yeah, that's right. That was really the deciding play. And yeah, it was another solid offensive day. Dom Johnson ended up going 2 for 5 with an RBI and a strikeout. The next contributor would be a 1 for 4 day from Cole Johnson, who also drew a walk but left 2 on base. Dylan Phillips had a 3 for 4 day with 3 RBIs, including that big home run. Nick Goodwin ended up taking an offer, but he did end up scoring a run.
He was hit
by pitch. Yeah, okay. I was about to say, Josh Nikoloff ended up having a 2 for 2 day with 2 walks and 3 RBIs. Justin Mitchell ended up going 1 for 2 with a strikeout, then was pitch hit for by Brandon Jones, who ended up scoring a run. Rafael Pelletier ended up going 1 for 2 with 2 RBIs. Orlando Salinas took an offer, but did end up walking twice, and then Kalen Culpepper had 1 hit with 4 at-bats and 1 run. 2 doubles from Dominic Johnson, 1 from Cole Johnson, 1 from Josh Nikoloff, and 1 from Kalen Culpepper, with home runs from Phillips, Nikoloff, Pelletier, and a sac fly from Dylan Phillips.
Yep. Then we did have a few errors this game, unfortunately. Goodwin had 2 at shortstop, and Nikoloff added 1 at first base. I believe it was a dropped ball. There was a few issues throwing from short to first in this game, as I recall. A few one-hoppers that didn't get in. One of them Nikoloff probably should have had, but a few of them were just really not good throws. They were rushed. But, I mean, they'll figure it out there on the defensive side. But this was a beautiful day. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see as many home runs as I wanted because, as I recall, the wind was out of the south for this game, so I was really hoping that there was going to be just a ton of home runs. But nay.
Let me tell you about the Air Force game next, then.
Yeah, you'll have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, forgot to mention on Saturday, I think it was Salinas had a home run go over the scoreboard or something like that. And then Phillips, his home run on the Sunday game for the sweep, his home run in the 8th, as I recall seeing on KSU Baseball Analytics, went 461 feet, which was the second longest that they've recorded since they started using StatTrack, which was, I think, 4 seasons ago at this point. So
in other words, bomb.
It was gone. And yeah, it was a nice come from behind win. Pitching, Christian Rubeck got the start, but he had a rough game. He only went 3 innings, had 5 strikeouts, 3 walks, 3 runs, 2 earned, and 4 hits, 68 pitches. Tyler Rule came in, had 4 strikeouts, no walks, 2 earned on 3 hits, and 1 hit by pitch, and threw 44 pitches in 3 innings. And then Griffin Hassel pitched another 3 innings and had 4 strikeouts, 2 walks, 3 hits, 1 run, and 52 pitches. So it was a little shaky from the starting, but other than that, only 2 earned runs given up by the relievers, which isn't too bad. So,
yep.
But it was definitely shaky when I was there with Rubeck. He was not pitching the best game. I just was really struggling with his command. But when his command was there, it was just phenomenal. I mean, he was just sending them past. I mean, there was nothing that Morehead State batters could do about it. But I did have to leave this game early. As I was there and received an anonymous tip, we'll call it, from
I was driving back home.
Yeah, you were unavailable. I was there with a couple of friends, and I got an anonymous tip about a certain private jet coming in from Waco to Manhattan that was expected to be there at about 3:45-ish. So we left after the top of the 6th, which was when K-State was trailing 5-2. And as I was leaving the parking lot, we hit a home run, and I was like, man, of course.
Man.
Yeah, I think it was a Pelletier home run. And the following one was a Nikolov home run, and then Dylan Phillips with the cherry on top at the end. But yeah, we went down to the airport to stake out the area, and we saw nothing.
Yeah, we saw nothing.
It's almost like athletics has done this before. And we were just hanging out in the parking lot, like a bunch of hooligans. But I mean, it was a fun little adventure out to the airport. I haven't been down the airport much, and unfortunately didn't see anything. But my hunch was correct in that, hey, half the athletic department goes to Waco. We might be hiring Jerome Tang. Also, all the national outlets have been talking about it the night before. That might have. Well, actually, no, this was Sunday. It wasn't Monday.
Yep.
So that hadn't started yet. But it was that was why I missed all of the most exciting parts of the baseball game. But you know what? That's okay. Because the real baseball game is the friends that we made along the way.
That's the name of the episode, is the friends we made along the way. But the final K-State game was unfortunately the one that snapped the 8-game winning streak, and that was against Air Force. No, I'm not going to steal your joke. You say the joke. We lost the game.
No, I'm not gonna say that joke. The joke was that we lost a game, and then we lost a game. It's because we had a game get canceled. You can make fun of me in the comments if you'd like.
Don't. It's a great joke. But unfortunately, we ended up falling to the Air Force Academy 4-3. And the number one thing that I say is that the wind in this game was insane and also assassinated numerous balls that would have been home runs. For being fair, for both teams, but there were a couple of balls that were just straight up murdered by the wind. So we just scoring what should have been a lot more.
Yeah, the weather was listed as 40 degrees Fahrenheit at first pitch with 17 miles per hour coming in from left field. So that's just a straight north wind.
Yeah.
And for Toyton, which is normally a very batter-friendly ballpark, that is pretty much, other than like a northeast wind, probably the worst one that you can have. And yeah, because a lot of the home runs in Toyton go over that left field fence out there, left and left center, and which that is not unique to Toyton, but
yeah,
but it's it definitely hurt K-State down the stretch. It's not to say it didn't get home runs, because some of their players were able to get it out. Kalen Culpepper, he went oppo.
It's a missile.
Yeah, he went opposite field with his home run because he's a right-handed batter. But he sent it out through right field for a solo shot. So, but unfortunately, K-State couldn't hang on, losing 4-3. 3 defensive errors. It's really, really tough.
Yeah, the fielding errors were from Dylan Phillips, Colin Rothermel, and Herman Ferrardo. Fajardo was especially hurting because that ended up allowing a runner to advance on a throwing error that would have eventually got us out of the inning. That one hurt a lot.
Yeah. One of these was an overthrow to first from a pitcher, as I recall.
Herman.
Yeah. Do you recall the other ones?
Dylan Phillips, I think, overran a ball. I don't remember the Dylan Phillips one very well. And Colin Rothermel, I think, just mishandled it. Which, being fair, none of those were... Well, that's not true. The Herman Ferrardo overthrow was probably the most disgusting error on the day, followed closely by the shortstop of Air Force absolutely booting, like almost comically booting a ground ball directly to him. But yeah, it was just not a great day at the ballpark, both in terms of weather and in terms of scoring.
I was going to say, it's cold and
the wind bites you.
Yeah, and the Cats lost. So, I mean, that makes it a bad day at the ballpark, like, without a doubt. Don Johnson had his first rough day in a while. Even then, he still did get on base a couple of times. He was 1 for 4 and also walked once. Brady Day went 0 for, but he did a draw walk. Cole Johnson drew a walk, also went 0 for. And I believe he was the final strikeout at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan Phillips, he had a double and scored a run, and that was it. Josh Nikoloff was 2 for 4. Nick Goodwin was 2 for 4 with an RBI. Justin Mitchell 0 for 2. Dom Hughes pinch hit for him at one point because Mitchell did get hit by a pitch. Orlando Salinas 1 for 4. Kalen Culpepper 2 for 4 with his RBI on the home run.
Mitchell was out not because of the hit by pitch, but because him and Kalen Culpepper collided on a foul out.
Oh, really?
And Mitchell was down for a while. Yet he still came back and caught, but didn't hit, even after he was subbed out. This is something that Brian Smoller was even confused about on the call. He said, like, I'm not sure how they're allowed to have him in defensively, but get pinch hit for, but I guess.
All right. But yeah. Starting pitcher was Colin Rothermel. He went 5 innings, 6 strikeouts, 3 walks, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 3 total runs given up, 87 pitches. I don't know how you feel about the earned runs to total runs given up there.
That makes me sad.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Is that an accurate depiction?
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah, that's very accurate.
That's unfortunate. Herman Fajardo came in and gave 2 innings with 1 earned run on 2 hits, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks, and 60 pitches. That's a lot of pitches for 2 innings. They'll face 11 batters in that amount of time. And then Blake Corsentino with 1 hit, 2 strikeouts, faced 7 batters in 2 innings, although he only threw 17 pitches.
Yeah.
Which is the complete opposite of the type of outing that Fajardo.
Yeah,
you're either getting on base or you're grounding out in 1 pitch to him. So,
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's a tough way to lose your long win streak, especially going into Big 12 play. But, you still win 8 games in a row to rebound from what was a really, really rough start, including a road win over Omaha and a sweep of a team that was in the NCAA regionals last year in Central Connecticut State, and then beating Nebraska in a tight contest, and they were predicted to win the Big Ten coming into this year. So some quality wins in there.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to keeping my eyes on the Backcats because, some were ready to give up on them after their slow start. But, now they're starting to find their footing. I mean, again, we said it a lot before. This is a team with more newcomers than returning players. So they are reloading this year, and it's just taking them a while to get everything figured out.
Yeah. But you know who didn't take long to figure it out? Dom Johnson.
Yeah.
My goodness gracious. He's batting like 500 right now. And during his hitting streak, he was batting like 600.
Yeah.
He was batting some ungodly high batting average.
Yeah.
And he was just quite, oh, you funny pun, dominant. No, you don't understand.
Yeah.
You do not understand how ridiculous Dom Johnson has been for this team. And it's not even just that he's really good offensively. No, he's had some really good defensive moments as well. He's probably the best defender in the outfield, and at least he's the least error prone. But he's just been great all around. And both of the Johnsons actually have, Cole Johnson's been, obviously not as good, but he's still been solid. But Dom Johnson's really become the face of this team. Which, if you told me that Dom Johnson would have been the face over Dylan Phillips or Nick Goodwin, I probably would have called you crazy, but here we are.
Yeah, Dom has been absolutely phenomenal. He's in the middle of a pretty long hitting streak. I believe he still has maintained that because he did get a hit against Air Force. Mm-hmm. I don't remember him ever not getting a hit in the Morehead State series.
Yeah, no, he extended his hitting streak.
Yeah, it's something like 13 now.
Yeah.
It's around there. It's a lot. And he did unfortunately lose his multi-hit game streak with Air Force. He was up to like 7 or 8 with that. But you know what? It's tomato. He's still got a nice hitting streak going on. And I've been loving watching him. I mean, there was in the Morehead State series, he had like 8 doubles or something like that. And he got up on the very first pitch of the game that I went to. He doubled. And I went up there. I was like, well, I'll probably double. I was joking. Because who's going to double in the first pitch of the game? Dom Johnson,
Apparently Dom Johnson.
And he did the exact same thing that he did all series, which is just shoot it right down the third baseline and just sprint on to second, stand up double, easy. He's been excellent. He's had a couple of not great defensive plays, I forget who it was against. Might have been Nebraska, where he had a catch in the outfield and it kind of bounced out of his glove. Granted, he was on the run and he was leaning, and it was definitely rough.
That Nub or Michigan? Because I remember he was awful defensively. Michigan.
It was a home game.
Okay.
And
I don't remember that against Nub, but it could have been.
It may have been the last Morehead State game then.
It could have been. I don't
know if it even got credited as an error. Is the thing.
StatCast didn't count it. Didn't happen. History will not see it. I believe you, but
he's still so much of a net positive batting that it's almost not worth bringing it up.
Yeah, just appreciate Dom Johnson.
Yeah, he's only a sophomore, I believe, and he transferred him from Oklahoma State because they wouldn't play him.
Morons.
Why?
Stupid people.
Yeah. Idiots.
Colossal
morons.
But, yeah, that pretty much wraps up anything I have to say, Ethan.
Yeah, I have nothing else to add.
All right. So thank you all for listening to this episode of the Aggieville Alleycats podcast. If you want to reach out to the show, you can follow us on Twitter at Aggieville Alleycats. That's capital A, and capital C in cats. If you want to email us, we are AggievilleAlleycats@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on a more personal note, I am at ACEdward00.
I am at Connor Baltazar, capital C, capital B.
And if you want to support the show in a financial sense, please be sure to check out the official Aggieville Alleycats merch store, where you can find such designs as Doomtang Clan, Play Sandstorm Cowards, and Neon Alleycats. But most importantly, thank you all for listening to this episode of the Aggieville Alleycats podcast. Where come rain, shine, or anything in between, we're here to deliver to you the Kansas State sporting news that you so love. Stay safe, Alleycats.